Those Lacking Spines by Organized Season 6. Chapter 9. Crawling in my skin! When we last left our heroes at the suspenseful cliffhanger ending to Chapter 8, they had just been swept over by an evil wave of darkness that would, according to the laws of the world, sweep over them and transform their every happy, angry, annoyed, or ambient feeling into Evangelion, brand 100 pure eggs. No artificial colors. This sounds like a dangerous situation. If Zaldin, Vexen, and Lexus were busy angsting heavily about their own problems, how would they ever find the strength to hunt down Zexion and Demase and Semes? They travel onwards on their journey to destroy the Semes and liberate Phantom Hearts and restore Organization 13 back to its proper state. Would they be trapped here in Valseason Heights for the rest of their miserable unlives, wandering the streets, sobbing and crying and whining things like, "You develop a broken heart, but you're born with a broken soul"? Would Zaldin comb his braids over his eyes and pierce his ears with a safety pin? Would Vexen dye his hair black and wear makeup? Would Lexus cut holes in the knees of his pants and write lame poetry? Those of you who are most studious may have taken the gap between chapters to write out an in-depth research paper regarding the effect of evil worldly egg slaves on nobodies, describing instead of the above scenario your own twisted reality, which somehow this would wipe their personalities completely, leaving them empty and open to corruption into the master plan of Grandmaster Fangirl and her semi pawns of Orgy 9. Some of you may even lay awake at night, wondering what would become of the three nobodies in this much alluded to Chapter 9, fraught with worry. Unfortunately for all of you, you have forgotten that nobodies don't have hearts, therefore are not capable of feeling emotions, and therefore there is nothing for an evil, worldly egg slave to wipe out and transform into soul-killing angst. I'm just gonna say that their emotions have been closed off and they still didn't think they had hearts, so it didn't affect them. That's a relief. Lexus sighed, as our three heroes picked themselves up off the ground, none for the worse for wear, to examine their new surroundings. What had been an obnoxiously colorful wacky land, where anything could happen, had become a desolate wasteland, a landscape of grays, browns, blacks, and more grays. Plants and trees and cliffhangers lay dried up and dead in brown fields. Buildings were round down, boarded up with windows and cracked doors swinging on creaky hinges. Beings that had before been colorful llamas, silly creatures on scooters, and happy little elves frolicking gaily, had become pale, weak, and sickly shades of their former selves, leaning in alleys and occasionally playing melancholy tunes on harmonicas. And ushering the woe, floating high above them in the air, was the second darkest tower in all of Phantom Hearts. "One tower down, one to go," Zaldin grumbled, his phrase flickering in the cold wind as the three of them surveyed the approaching citadel. "Sure enough, two Semes are residing in that tower," Vexen told him, checking the signal on the back of the World Guidebook. "Demex's, and as he mentioned, Zexion's." "Look at it this way," Lexus said optimistically. "Nothing can be worse than what we encountered back in Chapter 7. "What you encountered?" Vexen grumbled. "Sorry, I got something caught in my throat. Pardon if I fail to sympathize with you two for the horrors you endured. I, on the other hand, am never going to hear the end of mine." "Nonsense, Vexen. It can't stay funny forever," Zaldin assured him. "Oh no? Wait until I play Kingdom Hearts 2 again." "It's become a running joke," Vexen snapped. "It's sure to be popping up constantly, at least until the end of the story. And then, darkness forbids, so clever little nitwits will start referencing it in their own invocations of me." "Vexen is phobic at the tea party. Vexen versus the butt. Vexen screams at the horror of the tacky cup. Ugh, I can't even say it." "Now really isn't the time, Vexen," Lexus sighed. "We're going to encounter the author sometime. I just know it," Vexen said mostly to himself. "And when we do, I am going to beat her senseless." Speaking of being people senseless, Zexipoo could honestly sympathize with Vexen's violent urges. At the moment, he was doing his best to finish his evening brooding, an event that took place from 6 o'clock to 6:30 every night without fail. It was absolutely vital to the rest of his schedule that the evening brewing take place precisely at 6 o'clock with no interruptions. Otherwise, he would not have time for his 6:30 angsting, his 7 o'clock pissing and moaning, and his half-hour soak in the tub, in the dark, with white candles and sex on the base incense at 7:30. House at 8 o'clock, and then a 3-hour bout of feeling sorry for himself. It was very difficult to finish your evening brooding with your Evanescence CD, as being constantly interrupted by screeching, crashing, and banging noises from the direction of your boudoir. Dammykins! Sexy Poo yelled irritably, rubbing his mascara-stained tears, just as they got in the way he liked them. Yes, his colleague answered back from the other room, accompanied by Sexy Poo's mattress snapping in half. I thought I told you to stay out of my boudoir. Okay! With the sound of his precious sarcastic, Hot Topic t-shirt collection staring out of its velvet-lined door into the ceiling fan, Sexy Poo placed a hand to his forehead. That means get out! Oh! Poured forth from Dammykins' throat. It was quickly labeled the whiniest sound ever known to man, except for anything by the band Linkin Park. He slipped out of the room, tattoos of Kickens drawn in black eyeliner smuds all over him, and his head stuck through the armhole of Sexy Poo's favorite and clever shirt. You laugh because I'm different. I laugh because you're all the same. Oh, the mirth of the irony in that garment. And get your disgusting body away from my things, Sexy Poo hissed, pointing a black nail-polished finger at him. That eyeliner is expensive. You just don't understand me. Dammykins tilted his head into fascination as Sexy Poo resumed his brooding, crumpling in on himself and curling to a feels position on the floor. He probably would have cut his wrist too, if the author thought wrist cutting was an appropriate feature in any context in any sort of fanfic. For her purposes, she would replace the accent of cutting one's wrist with the accent of gorging oneself on a half pint of Berry Terry's Chunky Monkey ice cream, an activity that is soothing, safe, and delicious. Smexy, wexy, 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 Dammykins said curiously, leaning over to Sexy Poo's shoulder. Go away, I'm releasing my pain. Why? Because I want to. Why? Because it eases the pain of my aching soul. Why? Because it expresses my inner anguish. Why? Because it allows me to get out the feelings I'm bottling up inside myself that would otherwise rip me to the core, though they are halfway there. Why? Because I haven't been brooding enough. Why? Because Sexy Poo growled between clenched teeth. I have to put up with you. Why? Because I pulled the worst lot in the entire organization and they all hate me. Why? Because they don't understand me. Who? The rest of our organization. What? They don't understand me. Why? They just don't because! Wow, I really, really love all the lighting effects you got going on here. They balance all the well with the texture of the west side of the room. It really served to enhance the feng shui, Dammykins commented. Stop talking. I can't hear my brooding music. Sexy Poo growled again, behind a mouthful of walnuts and fudge chunks. You cried, I wipe away all of your tears. When you scream, I fight away all your... Dammykins eyed the stereo on the end table. It tilted his head quizzically. Sure enough, Amy Lee was applying enough angst for several people. Certainly enough to keep Sexy Poo happily brooding for hours and hours. Should we tell him that My Immortal is a ghost story about a ghost who refuses to leave? Well, if happily brooding is even possible, that is. Curiously, he reached over, pressed the shiny button, and all these emotions we keep locked away like pearls, solid pearl emotions we keep locked. Sexy Poo screamed and leapt to his feet, feeling wildly until he knocked the stereo to the ground and sent the CD crawling to the floor. He glared at Dammykins with expressive, pure, straight loathing. There were a few uneasy seconds of silence before Dammykins giggling broke away into conversation. Sexy Poo, was this a Savage Garden? Even Dammykins understood the implications of such a thing, stifling her hysterical giggles between his hand and making loud snoring noises. I do not! Stacey Pooh snapped. Shut up! You don't get me! You wouldn't even understand even if I did listen to them. And I don't! I never even heard of that song. Sure! Dickens laughed. Let me see some nerve. And I'm Ron Burgundy! There was an indignant gasping sound. Stacey Pooh stared at Torment his colleague. Fairly abruptly, knocking over the table and screeching at the top of his lungs. Okay! I'm not okay! I don't belong in a disgusting world with your disgusting sunshine flowers and Stacey Pooh screamed, looking close to ripping up his silled up hair out. Then he stuffed a huge spoonful of ice cream in his mouth. Ice turned red, black stained tears starting to appear at the corner of his eyes. Derrickens nodded with each syllable through the mouthful, cracking his head. The youngest and all. Everybody picks on me, and the mean girls at school used to give me swirlies in the ladies' bathroom, and oh God, that's good. There. Now lay it all out. Derrickens gave him a friendly pat on his arm and shoulder. How did he get his banana? Oh, God. But nobody understands me. And I'm not even a nobody. We're semi, so we don't have hearts and we don't have brains, lungs, liver, and my soul aches for a liver. Liver or let die, Derrickens sighed sadly. And to top it all off, Stacey Pooh shrieked dramatically. He sprayed droplets of melted ice cream from his mouth in his tantrum. I had to share the world with you, you disgusting, socket-looking, marker-eating, cross-eyed buffoon! Hey, can I have some fishy crackers? Derrickens asked. That's it. Well, a melodramatic scream of torture and rage and pains from the very depths of his broken soul. His soul in which his rage and misery had festered and fermented all of his short semi life. So much angst and torment he could no longer hid. Like the black raven escaping from the blood cage that had been locked by the oppressive bone-white hands and the dark shadowy voice in his head, coming into streams to crush the wishes in the night, and beneath the wicked heel of the bone reaper's flesh-craving bloodlust and the vampiric midnight, etc., etc., the words burst forth with a cry of, Get out! Now! You don't understand! You'll never understand! Denny, emotional Sammy, burst into tears, screaming into the boudoir, slamming the door behind him with a final insult. Explosive string of curses, concluding into, I hate you! Derrickens, meanwhile, picked the CD off the floor, and examined it closely. Then adulted dust some of it. Then ran out to find someone who'd be interested in the size of the booger he had just found hanging from his lip. Well, Fexit said, eyeing the shrine to Johann Vasquez, the greeting the trio as they made their way into the entranceway of the second darkest tower. This looks like a painful endeavor. Oh, I don't know. The way things are looking. The tower could actually be more humorous than the last one. Particularly if they run into any cake. That was uncalled for! The interior of the second darkest tower looked like a particularly disheveled Hot Topic outlet. Not that it's very difficult to find those, mind you. Hey, my Hot Topic is very clean! It's difficult to see the steel inner walls behind the shrouds of plunk band boasters, emulating the strange merchandise, and Green Day throw pillows that had been tacked to the walls with glowed, dark green neon, black light push pins. The stairs wound up and along the outside of the tower, tracing along the inner platforms that he had in the Rainbow Tower. These platforms, however, instead of decorated with colorful creatures and craziness, stood as shrines to the inner pain of whiny preteen, feeling the weight of the whole world on his scrawny, prepubescent shoulders. Our heroes reached the top floor of the tower, and the door that sealed away into the chambers of Stacey Pooh without much difficulty. But the door was locked. Lexus announced, testing the handle. There's no sign of a keyhole. There's a rather large indentation in the door up there, Saladin said, tracing towards the circular dent with his finger. Perhaps this activates the locking mechanism? Oh, for the love of nothing! Fexit groaned. What's that about? Don't you realize what this means? Fexit rolled his eyes in utter frustration. A large indentation in the door can mean only one thing. There's got to be something shaped like that around here that we can use as a key. So of course, that object is going to be something absolutely nonsensical, like a stained glass toilet brush, or some unholy signature. Fexit continued. And of course, this object is not going to be anywhere nearby. Oh no, it's going to be locked up on the complete other end of the tower, behind 6 other locked doors, also sealed by ridiculously complicated keys and puzzles, maybe even pieces of keys and puzzles, which we'll have to run off and fence in the most ludicrous of places before we can even think of getting out of here! You're such a pessimist, Fexit. Saladin chuckled. We are more members of Organized Season 13. We are prepared for anything. What could possibly happen to keep us from opening this little door within the next 2 minutes? I'll tell you what, Faces snapped. We're only 7 pages into this chapter, that's what. And she is going to stretch it out as long as possibly can. There's an inscription on the door on the wall here. Let's just point it out. Since it's scribbled what appeared to be blood red now paws. Actually, magic marker. It says, to the depths of the basement go those who do not hold the red basin. What in the world is the red basin? Selden asked. His query fell on deaf ears, however. Expensive licenses were currently tumbling down 6 stories through a trap door that had opened precisely as Selden spoken. Conveniently enough, Selden was also offensive with this trap door. He stared at the narrative in disbelief. Conveniently. Where exactly are we falling? Fexen asked, brushing his hair out of his face as he fell. I don't know, but it's approaching quickly. Lysis said, a dramatic landing, gentlemen. Let's! What improbable, slow falling, swishy coat land, and hair dramatic landing on their feet later. Hell yeah! Our heroes found themselves deep in the basement of the second darkest tower. Wait a minute, Saladin complained. This tower is floating in mid-air. A basement would require some sort of subterranean construction. How in the hell are we suddenly a basement? I think the more important question is, how do we get back up? Lysis mused, staring up in the sight of the light from above as the tunnel sealed itself. How annoying, Fexen said. Tell me again, what does this have to do with apes? I hesitate to say, Lysis said, as he examined a very psychological mural on the wall. After hours of arguing about Freud on forums, and looking up ancient Babylonian mythology and translating into hieroglyphics, its meaning basically amounted to, wah, nobody understands me. The impossible basement chamber was dark, lit only by a few sections of beach-scented candles, it seemed like foaming to squirrel placed in odd corners of the room. The 3 nobodies split up and began to search for a means to escape. I seem to have found an old piece of parchment, Saladin announced. I found it half squeezed lemon, Fexus said. I got 100 light bulbs stuck in a broken Tiffany lamp, Lysis said. Here's a piece of broken wire. Saladin handed it up between his fingers. A pair of pliers, Fexus put it in his pocket. A tube of super glue. Lysis carefully made sure the cap was on. I found a folded box of glasses. I found a old photograph. A philosophy textbooks. Season 3 of... I can do this! MacGyver on DVD. A Nancy water bottle full of goldfish crackers. The keys to a 1990s 7-wheel saber with a teddy bear keychain. Oh God, Limitless, 2 sticks of butter. Britney Spears' greatest hits. Merciful darkness, Lexus! Saladin said quickly. Throw that away before I kill somebody. Now we have a broken CD of Britney Spears' greatest hits. And a partridge in the pear tree! So, what shall we do with all this junk? Saladin asked, scratching his chin in a deep thought. Isn't it obvious? 30 seconds later, the silent hero tore open a massive hole in the wall with his tomahawk. They put their findings in the proper waste receptacle. Alongside the course, the partridge in the pear tree. The face that the tree was planted in had yet another inscription on the side, alluding to the mysterious red basin. The Dark One comes in the dead of night, red basin in hand. It gives you a fright. I swear. This all ends with a drink your Ovaltine gag. I am going outside to scream. Let's just read as they continue down the dark corridor, hopefully on the way to means up out of the basement. All you Silent Hill fans are laughing at me, aren't you? The most frightening thing we encountered so far is this poetry. Saladin snored and tucked a Nagin bottle into his coat. Gurkha Senses had decided you never know when you might get hungry for some goldfish crackers. What clever rhymes. What is this red basin they're referring to? face and grumbled, as though trying to work through the problems in his hand. Whatever it is, we have to find it to unlock the door upstairs. Let's decide. The guidebook isn't picking up any sort of signals to an exit, so I guess we'll keep it along in this tunnel till we find one. Why don't we just blow a hole in the ceiling like we did 5 paragraphs ago and be done with it? Faces said irritably. 9 pages, Saladin shrugged, and plot consistency. It was 7:30. Sexy Poo lay on his back in a piping hot bath, drenched in the suds and mineral oils, and incense fused with cucumbers over his eyes. Spooky music played in the background as he relaxed in the midst of another particularly rich senses of brooding. So, my front door has been awakened. Sexy Poo cackled to no one in particular. That means the Dark One has awakened to do my bidding. Ha ha ha! He lifted one foot out of the water, curling his toes like seriously, and inhaling a deep breath of citrus ginseng bath beads. No one has ever survived against the Dark One. Granted, no one had actually ever tried to survive against the Dark One, but that meant the odds were 100% in Sexy Poo's favor. He knew that he did the right thing in creating that Gutless. Yes, the Dark One was truly a masterpiece of lacking technology. So meek and unassuming until it utterly destroyed you. The Superior was certainly congratulate Sexy Poo on his efforts this time. Oh, if only the rest of 4G9 were still alive to see it. Yes, how would they pay for what they said to him, what they'd done, how they had laughed in his face and made fun of his... The crease on his frown formed on Sexy Poo's brow. No, now was not the time for that. At 9 o'clock, at their house, he would feel sorry for himself all he liked. But maybe he could put that on hold tonight, if the Dark One lived to expectations. The Dark One will bring all my enemies asunder, even those pesky nobodies. Sexy Poo smirked, reclining against the back of his tub like seriously. Oh, the mirth I will feel upon seeing their blood-splattered bodies crushed by the wrath of the Dark One. Ha 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 ha! Debbie-kins! What? What did I tell you about bath time? It's, wait a minute. On the tip of my tummy, bath time is my private time to be alone with my dark, brooding, evil thoughts. Oh, right. Sorry about that. I got bored looking for crayons, and then there was this answer. He told me that you had a dream of a night in the deepest love, and my heart will go on and on and on. Lovely overlaying of the gutless, Sexy Poo's caressed dramatically, pulling off his mask and glaring at his comrade. What do I have to do to leave me alone? Dimkins granted burst into song. I would fly you to the moon and back if you be my baby. I don't listen to Savage Garden. Hoo-ha! Get out. Take my underpants off your head and get out of here. Whee! Go away. You're a creep. I was having a good time until you showed up, Derrykins. Go have some coffee with cream or something. Lovely, Demikins removed Sexy Poo's priest from his head and sulked out of the room. Turning back just before leaving, and clear his comrade was Patty's face. What? Your incense stinks, and you listen to goofy music! Demikins squealed, disliked the door, and ran off to close a closet that had been designated his room. Or he would have, however, had he not tripped into the precise trap door that our 3 heroes had fallen down only pages earlier, tumbling all the way down into the basement with a shriek. Oh. In the shadows, he crept. He thirsted for blood of the guilty. He could smell the weight of their crimes and crushing their spirits. It was the scent of their sorrow that drove him out of his slumber and back to walk the world, a harvester of the wicked and punisher of the sinful. He was the one who held them accountable for all they'd done. He was justice. He was the one force in this corrupted world that only stood to reap what had been sown. He had watched them from the shadows, driven mad by the scent. He could hear the voice of the master urging him on, telling him to follow them, punish them, and destroy them. They had upset the master, a most despicable crime, and now they would suffer. Slowly, the creature rose from his rusted, decrepit throne. His joint creaked and shook like all of those of an old man, like a statue coming to life from centuries of slumber. His blood-stained hands tightened around the cleaver he carried, and his head bobbled back and forth under the weight of his headpiece, a reminder of his own punishment, a symbol of the guilt he was to eliminate. The cleaver dragged across the floor behind him as he stumbled his first steps, his careful steps towards the dim light of the hallway corridor and now of his lair. There, just beyond and into the light, were the three he was to destroy. They were waiting for him. He mustn't waste time. Master would be angry if the three went unpunished. Slowly, the creature made his way down to the steps towards the door. The cleaver banged and scraped against the stone floor, but he remained silent. He mustn't speak. Only the guilty could speak. And not for long as he followed them. They would soon be destroyed. He pushed the door open with one weary hand, taking the first starting steps into the hallway. Then his helmet got caught in the doorframe and it fell backwards like a disoriented turtle, wailing helplessly against the shadows. Did anybody here sound like some horrible creature falling over on its way to come and kill us? It sounded at a severe question. I'm not sure, Lexus replied, but I certainly heard something. Forget it, Lexus said, sounding more pleasant than he had all chapter. I see a stairway ahead. We're almost out of this lost to failing hellhole. But what about the red basin, Vexen? Lexus asked, as the three of them rushed towards the stairs. We'll need it to get past the locked door. I'll illustrate. I think I'll try if your tomahawk on that stupid thing would be entirely worth the effort, Saladin told him. Or, one of the two of us could just freeze or form star into the shape of the indentation, Saladin Vexen added. Why couldn't we have thought of this before? Lexus rolled his eyes. Plot consistency. This is a trio mounted the stairs and made their way back to the open door at the top. The basement door echoed with the terrifying sound of a woman's scream. In the second's distraction, a steel slab slid across the door and blocked their exit. All hell! Lexus groaned. Now what? It couldn't have been some kind of horrifying monster appearing from the shadows of Seal Doom in an attempt to protect the semi-monster, could it? Saladin pondered out loud. Saladin, remember that discussion we had about not saying ironic things like that, and because they always end up coming true? Vexen asked him, for lack of a better word, vexed. Sure enough, from the shadows of a doorway at the end of the corridor, a tall, dark, shadowy figure was carefully extricating itself from the doorframe. It dragged behind a long, razor-sharp cleaver, still more than capable of lopping the heads off of any suspecting passers-by in need of punishment. Silently, the shadow stepped out into the doorway and into the light. It was in the shape of a pale man in a stained toga, the gutless symbol standing proudly on his chest. His hands and feet were covered in what appeared to be stale red blood-red nail polish. But he was also magical marker upon his head, concealing his face, and weighing him down as though in punishment was a tremendous, red-stained metal bucket. Oh, look! A red basin, Saladin pointed out casually. Buckethead was a... I hate bad Silent Hill jokes. Was silent as he danced a little jig and wobbled on his feet, slowly heading into the direction of our three heroes with murder in his eyes. Well, not in his eyes. In the bucket, I suppose you had to say. Unfortunately, whoever designed the monster with a gigantic bucket on his head did not put much thought into how this monster would be able to walk, much less hunt down and murder the guilty. The creature took 2 steps forward, tripped on a piece of rubble, and fell face first into a pool of tepid basement water. The three nobodies watched him struggling to stand up for a moment. They glanced at each other. This is so sad, Saladin lamented. Even Sephiroth lost in a minute or two. Sephiroth! Screamed the crier for Chapter 5. Is this supposed to be a terrifying challenge for this world? Vexen asked, once the sorrow for the sudden appearance of the choir had worn off. Maybe we ought to, I don't know, help him up? Lexus asked uneasily. Why don't we just spare him the embarrassment, take the bucket off his head, and get out of here without another word or even mentioning the incident? Saladin suggested. Sounds fine to me. The three of them made their way carefully down the stairs, slowly approaching the struggling buckethead on the ground. Vexen and Lexen drew their weapons in just in case. Saladin slowly reached out and put the bucket off the monster's shoulders. As the bucket came away, I fell on the face and revealed something horrifying beyond all reason. Up in Sammy's loft, Sexy Poo was 10 seconds away from a murderous rampage. He stood, holding an empty cardboard carton, marked with a huge black skull and crossbones on his crossbones sticker. I'm sorry, I'm reading ahead. The seal had been broken, and every last fishy cracker had been devoured. Sexy Poo crushed the carton underfoot, clenched his fist until his knuckles turned white, and screamed in utter rage, "That idiot! I hate the Dark One! How do you eat the Dark One?" Oh, hell. Owie! I've been stuck there in that thing for an hour! Demikins whined, rolling back and forth in the puddle and immensely glad to be finally free of the bucket. We've had ridiculous cliffhangers before, Vexen said in a very dark sort of voice, but this was the stupidest, least compelling, and most idiotic cliffhanger I've ever seen. I hate it when that happens. Demikins cursed, sitting up and rubbing his head. I come down to the basement looking for a good time, go digging in the closet, bothers your uncle, and I got a bucket stuck on my head. Right down Davy Jones, I went looking for me cleaver and got me a rusty hazard in the eyeball, you know what I mean? Woo! Not my face! Honestly, I think we're glad to have found you, Demikins, Saladin said, drawing several assistants out thin air. We'll have to deal with you sooner or later, and there's no time like the present, is there? Well, man, Demikins' eyes widened as he crawled backwards and away from the trio, staring at him with malice and ill intentions. Hey now, we don't got it all end violently. All we are saying is give peace a chance. I apologize, Sammy, but you were never meant to exist. Isis handed his tomahawk over his shoulder and broke the news in as gentle tone as probably possible. You are only a piece of an incomplete whole. We must restore you back to Demikins' body where you belong. You'll never take me alive! Beefcake! Demikins screamed and did some clumsy backflip, leaping to his feet and holding the cleaver over his head. Or there can be only one! You got that right. Here we are! Born to be kings! We're the princess of the universe! Demikins burst into song. The cleaver was engulfed in evil light and began to change shape. Prepare yourselves. Demikins' Super Semi Ultra Dynamite Double Dynamite Loop-de-Loo attack! The three nobodies braced themselves and Demikins seemed to prepare for an immensely powerful attack. All sorts of fancy dance moves, dramatic sweeps in the hand, and occasional explosive sparkles. The cleaver continued to twist and bend and change shape before him, before he finally snatched out of the air and... Oh, we're going to a hooky low, hooky 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 low, hooky low low low. Demikins started out a tune on his brand new ukulele. This is impossible. It's like killing a caffeinated improv comic, Vexen groaned. Hey, do you guys have any fish crackers? Demikins asked quite suddenly. There was a long pause. As a matter of fact, we do. Saladin reached in his coat and pulled out the nicing bottle, sinking he the light, and showing out the glistening crackers inside. Demikins' jaw dropped, and his tongue fell out of his side, drooling profusely. OMG, those are my favorites, you! Would you like some? Saladin asked him. I faces it like, a terribly obvious tone. Oh yes, please, 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 oh my god! Let us pour them in a bowl for you, Isis offered, then pulled out the Tupperware. Then he carefully opened the lid, worrying not to let any of the four drift out to the open. Vexen took a handful of crackers from Saladin and sprinkled them liberally within the container. Ha! Derek and Streak, you think I'm stupid. You think I'm so stupid, eh? What? The trick is so obvious. You think I'm so stupid? I know I'm too big to fit in that little Tupperware dish there! So you are, Saladin announced. You think you're so smart? Well, I have fooled you. Derek gets back on triumphantly. I will have my fishy crackers. I will not fall for your stupid trick. What's this? Pulling a dramatic ballerina pirouette in the air, Derek gets exploded in a burst of light, and all of them was a floating, wispy orb of, It jumped and wiggled excitedly, then zipped immediately into the Tupperware to partake in the delicious goldfish, the baked and not fried goldfish, the wholesome snack that smiles back until you bite their heads off. It took Derek, approximately 10 seconds to figure out that it had no mouth, and no longer was capable of eating fishy crackers. Well, that was far after Lysa sealed the Tupperware lid. trapping the Unos until the time could be returned to their proper owners. Really now, that was pathetic, Fixer rolls his eyes. I certainly hope Sexton Seme will put up more of a fight than not, Saladin chuckled, shaking his head. Speaking of which, we got on that basin. Let's head up to his loft and show him we mean business, shall we? Yeah, let's. Let's just smart. Pass the go for Saladin. They are delicious, aren't they? Saladin replied. Yes, it's so wholesome. Mothers can rest easy with goldfish. Fixin was inclined to agree. Much better than that disgusting, sugary, what's it called? Saladin tucked the red basin under his arm, and the three of them made way for the door. You know, Fixin, for a moment there, I was almost sure Buckethead would be some kind of evil, sentient cake. That was uncalled for! One track up the stairs, and satisfying unlocking of the chamber door later, Saladin, Fixin, and Alexis could faintly detect the sound of dramatic, melancholy music blasting through the door into Sexy Pooh's saber straight ahead of them. I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I personally thought he moved on to Cherry Cola by now. Or I believe. He listens to Savage Garden. I said smirk, holding Ben in the back of laughter. Hey! Savage Garden is awesome! I listen to Savage Garden! I think it's high time we put him out of his misery, gentlemen, Saladin said. On the count of 3. 1, 2, on 3. With that, the three of them kicked out the double doors, drawing their weapons and stood and posed in the doorway, like they were having their pictures taken for the official game art. Session, we've come to take you home, Lysis called gruffly. There was a sudden scratch of a CD, and the noise had sounded rather like a semi throwing a stereo into a bathtub with electrical scissors and a small explosion. What have I said about knocking on my door? The trio watched as Sexy Pooh emerged from behind the bathtub, and they caught the first glimpse of him. He still looked quite a bit like his usual self. As his usual spent 6 hours in the bathroom with black eyeliner, pencil, and pale makeup. His hair was streaking, unwashed, and combed in his face. They wore a dramatic Hot Topic ensemble of a pair of pants and 10 suspenders, and 6 sets of chains clinking off of them in every direction, topped with a corset. Oh, gag! Vexen groaned. What is Delta Gag at? Saladin said. Pick something, Saladin replied. I was mostly referring to the fact that he's 8 years old! I am not 8 years old! Shrieked Sexy Pooh, standing at about 4'6" and excessively skinny and underdeveloped. Much like you would expect from an 8-year-old to be. Nobody ever understands me. The rest of the orgy made fun of me, calling me a child, and said I couldn't do anything. But now, I'm the only one who's left. They all pay for misunderstanding me. You don't understand me either. You're probably correct in that assumption, Alexis called. But regardless, the time has come for us to destroy you and take you with us. My good Sexion will be missing, as you know. Puh! Sissy Pooh crackled, crossing his arms over his chest. Like I care. Has anybody ever asked me what I thought about it? If I want to go back to him? What if I like having a life of my own, and bullying the world, and brewing 6 hours a day? Why doesn't anyone care about what I think? It's probably the fact that you're being corrupted, comprised of a missing set of, sounded quite said honestly. I might as well get used to the fact. We nobodies generally don't care about what people think. Well then, Sissy Pooh narrowed his eyes, and an evil red glow shone from them in the dim light of the room. That's the way it is. I'll have to teach you a lesson. With a mighty explosion of darkness and a blast of emo music. Go ahead and pick a band. The author supposes he has been mean enough this chapter. Sissy Pooh leapt off to the floor, and was soon floating in the air, hair sticking straight up behind him, and waves of evil power slowly beneath the floor. The force of the explosion knocked the bathtub, the end table, and all the furniture in the room over to the side. And nobodies braced themselves on a slick stone, and prepared for what would no doubt be an epic battle. The author owed the readers one since all the cliffhangers and suspense this chapter ended up as a stupid jokes. What are you all fighting me for? Sexy Pooh yelled over the roar of evil, pointing his hands downward on the floor, crouching as though reaching for some kind of invisible strings. You all have so much to feel sorry for yourselves about. Only reason I feel sorry for myself is that I have to put up with idiots like you in the course of my duty. Saladin retorted sharply. Oh, really? Sexy Poo tightened his hand around something, then jerked upwards. A dark shadow rose from the floor, as though he was controlling it like a puppet. Slowly the shadow took shape. It gained a human form, arms, legs, a long black coat, and hundreds of thin blades ripping in the gale, and everybody calls them dreadlocks. An immensely scrawny, whining, basically grotesque version of Saladin screeched the moment it had been fully brought into existence. But they're not dreadlocks, they're blades. You know what you have to do to your head to get to the dreadlocks? Ah! What in the name of? Saladin gaped, stepping back away from his set emo replica of himself. Everybody makes fun of my sideburns. The Saladin shadow wibbled, clasping his hands over his eyes and sobbing heartily. But you're genetic. My Meemaw was a solid woman with big sideburns, and my Poopaw had them too. Taking extreme offense at this, Saladin startled glanced forward. Three lances swinging out from behind him at this deplorable thing. The blades passed straight through the shadow, however, and only served to intensify his lighting. Oh, now you're trying to kill me! Wah! Sissy Poo howled for the latter, clasped two more invisible strings, drying on the floor for two shouts that quickly manifested themselves into the forms of the other two organization members before him. Everyone thinks I'm stupid because I'm muscular, fell Alexis' shadow, curled him in field position. No one understands me. I don't have a heart. I'm just a big lug of muscle. Oh, honestly. Alexis rolled his eyes, as his head to the story of Shadow also proved futile. Meanwhile, Alexis' Shadow was quite an episode of his own. No one understands why it scares me. It's soft and squishy and sweet and creamy and I just hate cake. Faces sighed heavily, his face buried in his hand, and swore swift, terrible revenge on the author. Sexy Poo was rather enjoying his little puppet show, waving his hands to orchestrate the movement of shadows. Don't you see? Everybody has something to whine about. Everyone can be like me, living in the darkness, moping, sobbing, angsty. Everyone will feel sorry for themselves. But when I'm the only member left of Origin 9, all of Venom hearts will bow before my angsty will. They will all look at these shadows do. It certainly includes you, you pesky pest! I don't think so, Vexen growled, glaring at the Peter Vincent Seme. Just how do you think you can stop me? Sexy Poo laughed hysterically, fully caught up in his evil moment. Like this, Lysis said casually. Sexy Poo looked up suddenly, just in time to see Lysis' tomahawk flying through the air, spinning end over directly in his direction. Wah! But the Semi was too late to dodge it. Tomahawk struck him. It flew backwards and slammed on the wall. Tomahawk embedded itself into the steel girder behind him, effectively pinning Sexy Poo into place. The darkness in the room, its shadows vanished, as Sensio let out an ear-piercing scream of "Ow!" Thank you, Lexus, Saladin sighed in relief, as the corner of his lips still twisting in fury at his child depiction. You're welcome. Lexus replied, strolling towards Sexy Poo with his arms crossed. Ow! My broken soul! Sexy Poo screamed again, wiggling helplessly to escape his rather gruesome-looking predicament. You hurt me. How could you? Oh, stop it! Vexen groaned. You don't have any internal organs, you twerp. Now I hurt you at all. Sexy Poo's eyes watered and he buried his face in his hand. Nobody understands me. Nobody. Now listen here, you little twit. Saladin snapped as the three nobodies circled around me. Isis is all well and good in moderation. But let us remind you of one very simple, important fact. You are a character in Kingdom Hearts, Vexen enunciated, which is partially owned by Disney. Therefore, there is honestly a little threshold to the possible amount of pissy, whiny acts you can exclude at any given time. Lexus finished. You don't have the right to tell me that, Sexton protested, kicking his feet wildly. You're pressing me. Boy, this series features Donald Duck as a main character, Saladin placed a hand on his forehead as he was developing a headache. Donald Duck, if you really feel the need to exercise your previous turmoil through the art of overwhelming, suicidal, depressing, risk-cutting angsty prose, why don't you turn your hand to something a little more suited to it? Silent Hill, perhaps? Why am I feeling like half of my fan base who enjoys Silent Hill have just grabbed the pitchforks and torches and are planning to kill me for that last one? There's a sharp pause. What's Silent Hill? Sniffed Sexy Pooh, wiping his nose on the back of his sleeve. There was a long pause. All three nobodies opened their mouths as though to say something, then closed them, then opened them, then closed them again. Have you been in your own basement? Asked Lexus in disbelief. I have a basement? Sassy Pooh's eyes widened in shock. Oh, enough! Saladin rolled his eyes, impelled upon his glances. Oh, still, let's get it over with. Wait! Sassy Pooh screamed. I'm allowed a dramatic death scene. Make it quick, Fexit snapped. Long ago, like the hearse you died to get up, Sexy Purr suddenly burst into song. None of that! Oh, fine, Sexy Pooh huffed. I knew I loved you before I... With that, Saladin abruptly stabbed him with a loaded belt, while a high-pitched screeched a terrier. Sexy Pooh exploded into purple mists and the usual glowing orb. Lexus gently collided in with the other five, and there was a tense moment of silence, punctuated by three large sighs. That little dump listened to Seven's Garden. Fexit grinned slightly. Lexus gently took the Tupperware, watching the you-know-what swirl inside. In that case, let's just presume to have done him a favor. Hey! This Seven's Garden fan feels very insulted by that comment. And Trixie will just be busy laughing at you. Shut up. I hope no one has failed to realize that there are only 2 members of the organization still missing in action. Let's just say a few hours later, as our 3 heroes have returned to GS Existentialist and fled Validation Heights as fast as their engines could take them. They are now seated in the ship's combination cockpit, partaking in a fresh batch of goldfish crackers. Like they were really going to eat the ones in the Tupperware. Moreover, the significance in their numbers, Fexit added, carefully adding to his notes of the journey from recorded observations in the guidebook's computer. Number 1 and number 13. I have a feeling that this is no ordinary world we're coming up onto. Saladin was gazing out of the front transparencies of the ship. His voice gave, despite the successful outlook of the mission so far. No doubt, the Semites of the Superior and Roxas will not be the same sort we are used to either. We must be prepared for anything. Aren't we always? Isis added optimistically. Saladin smirked slightly. His eyes focused somewhere in the distant reaches of space. Finally, we will see exactly who the Grand Master Vanguard is, and what the heart of her wicked plan has to do with us. It will no doubt be very interesting. Honestly, Fexit rolled his eyes. For the most part, this entire journey has been one joke. Ruined cliffhangers, pathetic creases to fight. Certain pastries aside, I'm not nervous in the least. We must have confidence after all. Let's disagreed. But be careful not to get too cocky, gentlemen. Saladin warned them, crossing his arms and focusing his attention on a bleeding dot ahead of them on the radar. A new world, an exceptionally large one for that matter. After all, who are we to know what lurks beyond Chapter 9? Probably something excessively stupid, Fexit shrugged. But that's a given. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, in the far reaches of space on the far side of the alternate universe, the darkest tower in Phantom Hearts was echoing with the sounds of laughter. Chapter 9 is complete. The sinister man has some colors beside Black cackled maniacally, lacing his fingers together. The puppets are out of the way. And now, the little heroes are on their way here. It's almost time for the show to begin. He leaned against some complicated computer equipment on the tower's central program, hardly able to contain his sinister laughter. His evil was overwhelming him. He had to express it somehow, Unless he exploded in a supernova of wickedness before the final stage of his plan could be set in motion. Yes, yes. They think they're so clever. I can just imagine them in the little ship, speaking of how easy it's been. Well, little do they know what awaits him in the final world. The man clenched his eyes shut, shaking his head, smacking the instruments in the throes of hilarity. Soon. He wiped the tears of mirth from his eyes and gazed across the room, where Roxas lay strapped to the slab, sleeping peacefully. Soon, my boy, you'll awaken to your full potential. Soon you will realize your destiny as the centerpiece to our magnificent plan. And soon all the worlds in the universe will have you to thank when they bow to Gutless and the magnificence of their eternal rule. The man suddenly passed out, having taken a little bit of spit out of his mouth. A minute later, he stumbled to his feet again, still backing hysterical giggles. Soon my plan will come to fruition. Soon the Grandmaster Fangirl will have her glory. He mumbled, a little evil grin playing on his lips. Soon those three nobodies will be on their knees before me, begging for mercy, and I will bend them asunder, fully implementing them into our evil plan, as was intended from the very beginning. Soon you will arrive with the you-knows, and Orgy 9 can be stand complete again. Taking a break for one heel-gassing, desperate laughter, he paused to gaze dramatically out the window. Soon, says Sammy whispered, traces of a grin still on his face, they will know the wrath of Red Sex! Across the room, Roxas was dreaming. He'd just been drafted into Major League Baseball. Now there were cheerleaders swarming around him, begging for his autograph. Horizon's mouth curled in a dazed smile as he slept, securely bolted down into a slab in the darkest corner of the deepest room of the darkest tower of Fandom Hearts.